IVM. Hey guys, welcome to the Positively Unlimited podcast. In today's episode, I'm talking about a concept that is kind of similar to what we call tit for tat. And that's quite a normal behavior one experiences or witnesses in our love lives. At some point or the other, we have played tit for tat in our relationship. You know, your partner did something, you got angry, and so you gave it back to them, or you did something worse because if you can behave that way, then so can I. Well, today's episode is something on those lines, but it's a word called mirroring. And yes, it comes from the word mirror. And yes, in relationships, often we are holding up mirrors for our partners. We are showing them things about themselves that they haven't realized. But in relationships, we're also doing something else. We are mirroring our partners. So I've experienced this a lot of times when, well, not a lot of times, but on the rare occasions that I've done couple sessions as a coach, as well as when I have sat with friends, couples, and, listening to them talking about what bothers them about the relationship. And I've often realized that both people have the same problem. Both people have the same issues. It's just that it's packaged differently. And this is what I mean by mirroring. A lot of times we don't realize that we may not really have a problem in the relationship, but we have been pulled into our partner's energy and we are simply mirroring their drama. So, as an example, one of the most common statements that a relationship coach or a therapist might hear from couples who are in therapy is, she doesn't understand me and he doesn't understand me. We are mirroring each other's feelings. Does this mean that they're not actually feeling it? They're just making it up? No, I don't mean that. Yes, the woman feels not understood. The man feels not understood. But if both people have the same problem, then why are they struggling so hard to change it? Well, one, it's because there is no acceptance that what one person is feeling is exactly what they are causing the other person to feel as well. So I'm going to try break this down a little bit. I know that I may be confusing you guys today, but stay with me. The man says, she does not understand me. The woman says, he does not understand me. Do they both genuinely feel not understood? Yes. But is it not possible that because the woman does not feel understood, she refuses to understand the man? And similarly, because he does not feel understood, he refuses to understand his partner. It's like, because I'm feeling something, I will not create space to extend that same thing to the other person. It's kind of like tit for tat. If you behave like this with me, I will behave like that with you. Now, this is one kind of mirroring, right? And this is more from the conscious space. There's another kind of mirroring which happens, which is more energetic, which is more subconscious. So, as an example, imagine that the girl in a relationship is behaving a certain way because of conditioning and because of fears that she has developed thanks to the lives that she saw her parents live, right? If you've been listening to this podcast and if you've been listening to the last 10, 12 episodes where I've been doing different topics on relationships, you will realize that there are times when we have seen a certain relationship between our parents and their behavior has freaked us out. And we have then got up and said, I will never be like her or never be like him with regards to how our parents behaved with each other in that relationship. Now imagine that this girl in her relationship is trying to not be like her mother or not be like her father, and her childhood conditioning triggers are getting slammed, and hence she is behaving a certain way. Similarly, the guy has the same kind of conditioning issues. And when she is behaving a certain way, she is slamming his triggers. The same ones where he grew up saying, I will not be like my mother or I will not be like my father. And well, they both are hitting the same triggers within each other. And they are mirroring their fears, they are mirroring the behavior, they are mirroring the energy. Now, in this kind of a situation, if one of the two partners can recognize what is going on, then the two of them can actually help each other break free of those fears thanks to conditioning and thanks to their childhood experiences. Because if there is enough love in that relationship, and if the two people are capable of holding space for each other, then they can actually talk about these things honestly, saying that when I was young, I witnessed this and hence I said this and hence I do this now. Similarly, the other person says, I saw my mom be this way, I saw my dad be that way, and hence I decided not to be this way. And when you behave like this, you make me feel like that. And that is why that behavior comes out. Just for a second, rewind that portion and listen to that example and imagine what your relationship would feel like if you could experience this kind of honesty and create this kind of a safe space between the two of you all. I'll give you another kind of mirroring that happens in relationships. It's when we reject our parents and their relationships so much that we become adamant about not finding a boy or girl like them. However, somewhere we end up with somebody who is very similar to them, and our relationship starts to look very familiar. Now, in this scenario, again, the possibility is that both partners have mirrored each other's energy and found each other. Yes, I may be sounding like I'm speaking a bit of voodoo, but we do attract our life partners energetically. Simple example, if you are somebody who plays damsel in distress, you will attract someone who is a knight in shining armor. Now, here's the catch. If you are someone who is pretending to be a damsel in distress, which means you are in victim zone, playing victim because, oh, poor me is a habit, then you are also going to attract a guy who is playing knight in shining armor because he is playing to his own ego. Now, this is an example of attracting your partner energetically. This is how it works, which is why live a full life, be a joyful person, and you will attract a partner who is living a full life and is a joyful person. The math is simple. However, that is for another episode. Coming back to this episode and talking about mirroring, we mirror each other in many, many different ways. In your relationship, if you are mirroring each other, observe and try to identify this. It's not easy to identify this because we are individually also caught up in our emotions. But look back. Listen to what your partner has been saying. Listen to the words that you have been throwing out as well. And you will be able to figure out if and where you are mirroring each other. Oh, and yes, talking about attracting partners. Sorry, that tangent threw me off. When two people grow up saying, I don't want to marry someone like my father or my mother, and they end up attracting each other, well, the story in their relationship continues to be, I don't want a woman like my mother or father. I don't want a husband like my mother or father. I don't want a relationship like theirs. But because they're constantly saying that, they end up behaving like that. They end up creating a similar relationship. Remember, what you are focusing on is what you will attract and what you will create. This, my friends, is not spirituality, it's common sense. Where is your attention? If your attention is on point A, then all you are seeing is point A and all you are creating from is point A. That's just common sense. And we do this in our relationships too. So, once again, if you are mirroring each other's energy, if you are mirroring each other's traits, if it's tit for tat, which is also a form of mirroring, it's time to change that. On that note, guys, I'm heading out from here. I hope you enjoy this episode. And yes, DM me, talk to me about mirroring, or could this be a possibility in your relationship? My Insta handle is Positivity Angel. Also, I love receiving messages from you guys where you tell me how my podcast is helping you. Thank you so much to everyone who sends me those messages. You know who you are. You can also connect with us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle is IVM Podcasts, and all previous episodes are available on the IVM app and website. Until next week, step into your relationship energy more mindfully this week.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's been a really, really great week on the network. Let me make a couple of recommendations to you guys. Agla Station Adulthood, they have an extraordinary episode on relationships. Ritasha and Ayushi, as always, do a bang-up job. I think you'll really enjoy that conversation. Check out Edges and Sledges, where DJ Ashwin and Varun have been talking to fans from different IPL teams on every episode. It's a really, really interesting project they've taken on during the course of the IPL. And as it comes to a conclusion, I'm sure you'll love to hear their thoughts on the tournament as a whole. I want to mention Uncle Please Sit. They had a really great episode which dove into why is pollution so bad. And I think that given the circumstances we're dealing with right now, it makes a ton of sense to listen to that. Cyrus had a really great week on his show as well. On the Monday episode, he spoke to Raj and DK about all kinds of stuff. He was in one of their early movies. Definitely a fun conversation to check that out. And finally, let me talk to you about the Wire Talks with Siddharth Bhatia. We're very excited about this show. On the first episode, Jairam Ramesh is there having conversation with Siddharth Bhatia about the legacy of Indira Gandhi. I think you will really, really get something out of this. Do give it a listen. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Namaskar, dear Bandhu. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. These are truly challenging times, and in these times, we need hope. Do take time to listen to my podcast, Begin the Journey. Available on IVM Podcasts, website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, there is hope because there's one life and we are alive.